Mr. Schoenmaker, thanks for your time. Firstly, we're seeing a short-term, at least, boost for the environment in many areas. But overall, how do you see the impact of COVID-19? With the current focus on helping economies recover, could this be detrimental in the battle against climate change?
Good morning. We see now clearly with reduced transport and reduced manufacturing that the air is cleaner and there is less pollution. So that also shows that we can do it. And as we know, large economic sectors, they will need state aid to get through this, to prevent unnecessary job losses, and that the companies can get through it. So we have to think how to help these companies. And then I would say, let's combine it. We have the EU Green Deal. We know what we want. And let's combine it. So if we give state aid, we also put green conditions on it, that if we get out of the crisis, these companies will turn to new technologies, low carbon technologies, circular concepts like Renault is already doing. They take old cars in, use the metal from the old cars for the new cars, that we speed up this circular and low carbon transition.
Yeah, but as you say there, it's if we get out of this crisis, which could be a long-term crisis in one sense, and the focus will have changed. It's now more immediate on backing up a massive recession. The IMF saying, this great lockdown has led to a financial world not seen since the Great Depression. Surely that makes the focus on the Green Deal much further away, pushed down as less of an immediate priority.
Yes, exactly. But if we give state aid to companies, the idea is that they get through the crisis and that they have a future. So we give the state aid not for today surviving, but that they have a future after the crisis. So, and if we combine the two, the basic idea is not to give additional administrative burden or bureaucracy, because I agree, companies cannot use that today. They have to survive. But once they make new investments, and at some point they will do it, maybe at the end of this year, maybe next year, when they make new investments, then the conditions of the state aid would be that these investments would be low carbon and circular. So the idea is not to put a lot of pressure, administrative procedures on companies, because I fully agree, we have to help them to survive, to keep the jobs. But once they start new investments, we today agree they get state aid if they turn their technologies to low carbon. I think that's the idea, not to put extra pressure today, but to make deals how you do it after the crisis.
Indeed, to keep a focus on that long-term goal and what we need in the long term to survive. And many would say that this current crisis has been a wake-up call for many to the extent with which we need to work in harmony with our environment. Do you think on that side of things we might have more will from certain sectors to working towards battling this climate change?
Yeah, exactly. And you are based in Paris, and we had the Paris Agreement in 2015, which was extremely hopeful. Yet, until last year, we have seen carbon emissions still increasing. So we really need to reset. Otherwise, the COVID crisis will be joined in 5 or 10 years' time with a huge global warming crisis, which we already see coming. So what we see today is that we can do it, less emissions, and the idea is for new investments, and at some point companies start to invest again, then let's use the state aid for it. And can I give a nice example? During the global financial crisis, General Motors was in big difficulties, got a huge state aid package from President Obama. And the condition he made, they said, okay, normally I don't help industries, but this is special time. But I give the money if you start to develop, after the crisis, electric cars. And now General Motors is one of the American companies with a whole fleet of electric vehicles and ahead of the competition. So the idea is also, let's get stronger out of the crisis.
Okay, Mr. Schoenmaker, let's end on that positive note indeed. Let's hope that this crisis might be in many